Welcome to the third day of our faculty development program. And our expert for today is none other than Dr. Kunal Soni, sir. Dr. Kunal Soni is a distinguished associate professor of finance and accounting at GSFC University, Vadodara. With over a decade of academic experience and significant industry exposure, he has established himself as a leading expert in finance and management. His academic credentials include a PhD in management, and he has published an impressive 26 research papers in esteemed journals. Dr. Soni is a highly sought after resource person and has been invited 130 times to share his expertise on research methodology, data analysis, and entrepreneurship. Throughout his career, Dr. Soni has received numerous awards for his outstanding research contributions, including the Best Research Paper Award and the Best Faculty of Management Department Award. With these words, I welcome Sir to proceed for our today's session. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, madam. Just confirm the screen sharing. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so good evening all for the third day of faculty development program on systematic way of writing research paper. Very, very important point. And yesterday we have seen the hypothesis testing and designing. So I hope you all have gone through it and you must have tried all the important aspect of hypothesis testing and development. Now, today the topic is something different, right? The topic is compiling references and bibliography. So, when we are talking about the referencing and bibliography, so these are the backbone for, the foundational part, or I can say the foundation of the research paper, right? That researcher is designing and a researcher is drafting. So it is very, very important that every researcher should follow, should maintain, and should organize all the referencing and bibliography that during the throughout the journey of the research, irrespective of whether you are drafting a research paper, whether you are drafting a thesis, whether you are drafting postdoctorate project, or you are going for any funding projects in terms of major and minor. But the purpose, why I'm saying that it is a foundation of the research work. So the simple answer to this question is, it's a foundation means, it defines the base of the theory that this particular research has taken up. And at the same time, those theories are definitely been derived from the referencing and bibliography that we have made and that we have maintained in the case, in the terminologies of the citations that we have to give it to this particular aspect, right? And those citations are properly maintained in detail in the references. So once the research papers of any researcher, which has presently been prepared, right, now after some period of time, it got published into reputed journals. And after the publication, if we consider that the future researcher will read those papers, and after reading those papers, the researcher found this paper to be more suitable, more significant, more innovative, and concrete in terms of all the terminologies, fundamentals, technicalities, and societal benefits. So obviously, they will like to refer your paper and to reach out to any papers, right, in the research is none other than the referencing and bibliography that we are making it. But again, those referencing and bibliography can be easily being derived through the citations that, in the content that researcher has made it. So through these citations, the researcher would be able to get into this particular referencing and bibliography. So the point over of discussion over here is, it's very, very important that we should maintain all things and all the parameters very concretely, very properly, so that the foundational things would be properly derived. And that is where the referencing and bibliography plays a significant role, right? And that's where we must have seen the problem identification, right? So how the problems we have already discussed yesterday also, and day before yesterday on the first day of the FTP also you must have discussed on identification of problem. So wherein you must have seen that the identification of problem is basically been derived after this stage of literature, right? Because we have seen that through the process of literature review, people are finding out the gap is, and the gap is nothing but what already didn't happen and what is your expectations to derive,
मग झालं
right?
काय होतं डिसेबल कुठून झालं होतं ते सकाळी केलं होतं परत इन्स्टॉल केलं सगळं केलं
Can I have the menu, please? Okay. So this gap is what has already been happened and what is our expectations, right? So to fulfill this gap, right, and to derive this gap, the major role which has played by all the references and bibliography that researcher has maintained in all the proper manner throughout the research journey. Right. So with this note, I would like to start my presentation that what is the referencing in bibliography and why we are preparing. So this would be the flow of presentation that we are going to see to it. The first is we will discuss the meaning of referencing and bibliography. Then we will discuss how the concept of referencing and bibliography evolved, right? And how this concept is being followed into the market. Then we must have to touch upon the important parameter is the needs, the importance, right, to do the referencing and bibliography in the research. So that is where we are talking about why do we need the referencing and bibliography. Then we will also try to touch upon the different types of referencing and bibliography that already exist into the market, right? What are the elements, irrespective of the different types of referencing and bibliography, if we'll try to consider, right? But one of the important things or one of the important parameters that, if I'm talking about one particular references or it could be a bibliography, so those parameters being made out with certain elements in terms of name of authors, it says year of publications in which the paper has been published, title of the research paper, journal where this research paper has been published, and many more, right? So with consideration of the different types, right, and out of the different type, which specific type of referencing and bibliography that we are going to prefer, and out of the preference, what sort of different elements that we need to take into consideration. So that is where we have to discuss the different elements in which the references and bibliography are involved. Different formats of referencing and bibliography. What sort of different formats are there apart from the types and elements? And finally, we would like to see that is the referencing and bibliographies are same, or there is a difference between these two terminologies. So that is also the discussion point, that should we consider referencing and bibliography to be a same, or they are differ based on some fundamental grounds, or I can say the thin line of difference are there, right? So this is the talk of the today's presentation. So first of all, let's try to touch upon the meaning of referencing bibliography. So references typically refers to the section that we add it in the end of the research paper, right? So why this particular line says that references are the parameters that usually we'll try to touch upon at the end of the paper, right? So if I'm saying that these are the parameters that we are trying to touch upon at the end of the paper, so I wanted to know that how many parts are there of any research paper that we are writing. Any idea to anyone? How many parts in which the entire research paper could be segregated? Any idea? So there are three parts, right? There are three parts in which the entire research paper can be segregated. The first part is beginning part. The second part is main body of text. And the third part is end body or end part, whatever you want to say, right? Now the question over here is, what is beginning, what is main body of text, and what is end body? And we have referred over here is, it is a section that we write it at the end of the paper. So what is the reason why we have writing this end of the paper? So if we divide any research paper into three parts, so beginning part consists the title of the paper, abstract of the paper, and keywords. So this is called beginning part. If it talks about main body of text, so the main portion of the research paper is introduction. Then it could be LR, research methodology or systematic literature review that you are calling upon. Then it is RM, and then it is data analysis and interpretation. So this is called main body of text. The third portion is, we can call it as findings, conclusion, recommendations, suggestions, whatever you want to write, and societal importance. And with that, you have to add reference and bibliography. I hope it is clear. Yes or no? And if you noticed any of the articles, any of the book chapter publications, so you will define or you will find this sort of bifurcations. Not this sort of, but these are the elements that you must have noticed. Or even if you are being an author, so you must have drafted also. I hope it is clear. I hope you all are agree with that. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. And how this is going to be bifurcated? So this is the answer. So from title to keywords, it's a beginning portion. From introduction to data analysis and interpretation, it is main body of text. From findings to referencing and bibliography, it is called end body of text. So references is basically the portion of end body of paper where you have to provide the address or you will provide the list of all the sources that you cited or consulted during the research and writing process. And these sources could include various books, journal articles, websites, reports, interviews, or any other materials that has been contributed to the development of your work. Right. So if I'm citing anything as a part of referencing and bibliography in the end part of the text, so that end part of the text could be anything and everything wherever I'm getting the idea for my research paper, and for which the idea that has been provided by this particular researcher, I need to give the credit to that researcher. So that is where I need to take into consideration the books, articles, website, reports, interviews, on any other materials that directly or indirectly contributed to the development of your work. And that's why references usually follows the main body of text and any appendices. Now the third line says that references usually follows the main body of text and any appendices. What does it mean? Can anybody tell me what does it mean? That references does follow main body of text and any appendices. What does it mean? Usually we write appendices at the end of references as well, right? So how references follows main body of text and appendices. What is the logic? What is the reason why this particular line has been mentioned? Right. So one thing is very clear. What is the role of references? Tell me. What is the role of references?
To cite the work of other authors.
To cite the work of others. In your research paper, if you saying that to cite the works of others, so where you are writing the works of other in your research paper, are you writing in beginning? Are you writing in main body of text? Or are you writing in end body?
At the end.
No,
No, no.
in main body.
You are writing references to be end body. But where is the others work that you have taken up in your research paper as a base of
We
your
have
research?
used
In the
we
main.
have used it in our main body.
You can either use introduction, SLR, RM, even in data
Hmm.
analysis also. So
Analysis,
that is
yes.
in main body of text, yes or no? So that's why this line has been written that reference sections usually follows the main body of text and any appendices. Means out of the references, if you have noticed any short forms for any terminologies, parameters, so that also you can cite them, these particular authors. Right? And sometimes we are finding some new variables. So for to get these new variables, we are giving the credit to that particular person, right? Who has evolved this term. In usually science, these things are usually happens, right? Even we are writing a definition of certain concept. So we always try to start the definition with the author name, right? Or the inventor's name, right? So that is nothing but the citations indirectly. So that's why each entry in the references list include all the essential bibliographic informations about the sources, such as I have discussed, if we are writing any references, so what are the elements, not in sequence but hypothetically. So this is the name of authors, title of the articles, the date of publication, if publisher is if any, and all the any other relevant information as per the style and formats that for the referencing and bibliography that you are following for your research paper. The style, references, and types that we will discuss on the later slide. That would be the part of it. But I hope the thing is clear to all of you that what references could include. It's an author name, year of publication. It could be date, it could be month and year, and it could be only year as well, right? So it completely depends upon the style of references that you are following. And the example of three style of referencing in bibliography is already mentioned over here. It could be APA, it could be MLA, it could be Chicago as well. Clear? Okay. So what are the benefits that we are going to receive as a part of referencing in bibliography? So first benefit of this particular work is it would help you out to narrow down your focus, or I can say this, to narrow down your research gap. Yes or no? We had discussed yesterday also. We had tried to touch somehow today as well. So research gap is what your expectation and what actual has happened. So you were planning to go for 100 miles, but you found that 98 miles have already been run by others. So now you have to run only 2 miles to touch upon 100, right? So that is your two is a research gap. So that's where you are planning to go for 100, but research gap you have find out, and now you have to plan only for 2 miles. So that's where your run is going to be narrowed down, right? Because your concept is clear, you are try to avoid the plagiarism, and you must try for something else which has not already been happened. And that's where the second point in the slides which mentions that it helps to make your research ethically correct, original, and significant. So that is where the references is going to help you out to get these benefits. It also helps to find research in a focused area. Obviously, you must have heard about the term called bibliographic couplings. Have anybody heard about these terms? What is bibliographic coupling? anyone who is doing in qualitative research, they must be knowing, right? Any idea about bibliographic couplings? If anybody can, any idea? Okay. So how this focused area will be possible? Let's say X has written a paper and he has published. Then Y is writing a paper and Y is referring the paper of X. So Y is giving citation to X. Okay. So the X is bibliography or references for Y or not. I hope it is clear. I hope you are agree with this. Yes or no? Right. So X paper is going to be bibliography for Y or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now Z comes into picture. Now Z is referring the paper of Y, but during the reference, Z found that by referring that all the references of Y, Z found that whatever concept that Y has taken from X, so is X is also going to be applicable on equivalent mode for me as well, right? So what Z has done it, I don't know whether Z has referred or not for the Y, but Z found that X is very important, right? The paper of X is very good, right? So what Z has done it, Z has started reading a paper, searching paper, and he found Y. But after finding Y paper, the Z went for the reading of the Y paper, and then he found that under the Y paper, he found in the references of Y paper that X is very important, and Z has read those papers, and then he realized that X is important. I hope you all are make your mics to be on mute mode. Until and unless if you speak up, you please close down. Right. So Z realized that X is helping out my resource, for all my research work that I have to done it, but I have went to the X with the mode of Z, right? So I have cited the X and Y as well, right? Let's say Y also. So Y we have cited, it is called bibliography or references, but I have cited X, right? That is Z, right? So Z has Z has cited Z has cited X because of Y paper. So this is called bibliographic coupling. Why? Because Z does not find X paper directly, but Y reached to X, Z reached to X via Y. So this is called bibliographic coupling. Right, very very important point for qualitative analysis, and as far as with the usage of referencing in bibliography, that needs to be concerned. I hope it is clear. Yes.
Yes, sir.
आपको भी कभी काफी बार होता होगा ना, आप किसी का पेपर पढ़ रहे हो पर उसमें आपने कहीं कंसेप्ट पढ़ा, उसमें आपको अच्छा लगा, आपने देखा कि भाई नेम ऑफ ऑथर कौन है, तो आप उसके पेपर्स पे चले गए, and then you find that, oh yes, this is a great paper, I should also get things from here, and then you have taken up, but you have not directly reached to that paper, but you have been reached to the paper of the second person, that is why, right? And that's why you are going into in-depth analysis of all the parameters that we have to take into consideration, and that's why it is full of fundamental knowledge, and that's how you can find out. So you see that one X has written a paper, it has been cited by Y. Then after Y has also published a paper, then Z has started a paper, so Y is also got cited, but along with Y, X is also going to be cited. So due to this is a chain process, right? You can see this, right? X and then transfer to Z, right? So Z has provided citation for X. Now if somebody else will involve, so bibliographic couplings also is going to be in double, triple, or 4 times mode. So this is a cyclical process, chain based process, and that's why the people will make their citations to be more solid and on a concrete parameter. So that is where it also helps to avoid the plagiarisms that has been involved in the research paper. So what is the research cycle, right? If you understand the research cycle, so there are 4 stages of research. The first is read. So when you are going for research paper writings, you must have to refer many of the papers, either, right? So until and unless if you don't read the paper at the beginning, you won't be able to judge whether this paper is useful for me or not. So it is very essential that researcher has to at least go for once a reading at what exactly this paper is and what this paper is talking about, right? So that is where you have to read this paper, right? So the first aspect is the reading aspect. The second things that we have to see is you have to write, right? Whatever things you are doing it, you must have to write it down. So whatever things you are preferring, you need to write it down on piece of paper on the laptop, right? So you just write it down that this is happening and this is not happening, right? So writing, right? So whatever important things that you feel out of the reading perspective, you'll start jotting down the important topics in terms of different parameters, technicalities like methodology, gap, sample size, sampling techniques, research design, data collection tools and techniques, data analysis tools and techniques, major findings. So all this information for every paper that you wanted to write it down on piece of paper or on the soft copy of your PC or laptop. So what happens is he gradually started this process in the second image. And then after, if you see the third image, after doing for 20, 50 papers down the line, the researcher feel that he reached to the process of rinse, means he's trying to eat the things, he's reading the things, he is writing the things. But what happens is when he constantly getting reading, so when he reaches to the 51 paper, he might forget what was there in the paper 1 and so on. That means this is called overburden. This is called indigestion of the process. Although you are making process, but you are not getting the fruit of that paper, process, right? So that's why it's a waste of efforts. Sometimes it create confusions, it create a frustration, right? And that frustration you can see in the fourth image, that you are eating, but although you don't know what to eat and how this is going to be digested, somehow it got wasted of time, money and energy. And again, if after this process, if you realize that you are not on the toe for this process, so you need to repeat that process as well. So if you need to go for the repetitions of literature review or any sort of things that as your paper demands, obviously I'm not saying that any time you should not go, but once in a while for small thing it's always advisable. But yeah, the major missing things if it is happening, so then this process needs to be repeat again and again, and it is very painful process, I must say that, because you're not ready to read these articles again, because we know our limitation that एक आर्टिकल भी पढ़ लिया तो बहुत है, वही आर्टिकल फिर से पढ़ना तो बहुत बड़ी बात है, राइट? I hope you all are understanding this part. So that's where referencing a bibliography, it always provide the topic that always help to align with your interest, with the existing literature review, and with the consideration of the need of the society, expectations of the society. And it also help you out to understand the existing research, as I already mentioned. If you don't look at the past, you will not understand what has already happened and what your role as a researcher needs to be play. So it's very important that before proceeding for any research work, it's always advisable to go, always advisable to look backward to identify what has already been happened and what is your requirement, why you are being considered to be a researcher. So that's where for trend setting and all the existing knowledge that you have to define, it's very essential that we should take into consideration of the past research. Define contribution, right? That is where the citation process that we are doing it, right? This is nothing but the citation, right? If I'm reading any research paper, then how can I differentiate among this researcher, that let's say if I'm reading the research paper of Mr. Y, so how can I define while reading his paper that this particular work has been done by Mr. Y and this particular work has not been done by Mr. Y, but it has been done by someone else? So can anybody answer me? What are the clues? What are the things that I have to see to it, that what contribution that Mr. Y has made, and what contribution that Mr. Y has not made it, but he must have taken up from someone's, right? So what are the process that makes it differentiate? बोर्ड पे आंसर भी लिखा है. If at,
Citation.
right, if at every point, if you're noticing citation, that clearly indicates that he has taken the theory and base from the particular author, and for which Mr. Mr. X is providing citation. But any portion where you are not finding citations, that by natural consider that this is the contribution of Mr. Y, and that's where it can be segregated, that wherever you feel the citations of some other author that provides the existing body of knowledge that has been provided by the previous author, and that's where you are not getting the citation, that clearly defines your original work, and that is how we can segregate it, right? The objective to give the credits, why we are making citations, so the basic objective is to give the credits to the particular author for all the contribution that he or she has provided throughout the journey of research for the topic, and we are working on it, right? To structure your paper, right? To decide the structure of paper, so let's say the common structure is introduction, review of literature, methodology, results, discussions, and conclusions, right? So in each of the parameters of the research paper, if you want to get an idea what to write, what not to write, what to cover, what not to cover, for each and every questions that is prevailing in your minds, and if you are sincerely looking for the solution of this problem, it's very essential that we should go for the references and bibliography. Use clear language. To get the referencing and bibliography, you need to write a clear, concise, and scholarly manner. Cite sources properly. So ensure proper citations of all the sources. That follows recognized citations. That is either APA style or MLA style or Chicago style, right? You should not make it in a informal manner, but it should follow the proper format. And that format could also be decided by the journal itself. You are not completely independent to decide your format. So you stick to the format that has been considered by the journal. So it's very essential that wherever you are proceeding for any sort of submissions in terms of research paper or PhD thesis, whatsoever you are doing it, it's very essential, being an author, you must need to read the author's guidelines before going for the submissions, right? So that the chances of rejections are minimum. And that's where we have to take care a lot, right? Stay updated. This references bibliography always help the researchers to find out something new, to read something new, to taste something new, and that's where you keep updated yourself in the area or domain in which we are making our research work. That's where it always help you out to keep yourself updated. Reflect and improve. If you feel that in the past you have made this particular research journey, and during this research journey, obviously everybody has their past, and due to this past everybody has certain better experience and certain better experience, right? So out of the better experience, we must have to identify and assess the situation, and that's where we'll try to improve upon, and that's where we always look forward for the next opportunity wherever we can crack the things and get published our research work. And I always say in my all the workshops, seminars, faculty development program, that today is an era of collaboration. You can't sustain in this world without collaborations. If you want to sustain in this teaching fraternity, it is very essential that you should do your research work with the collaboration, because please try to understand, you have a lot of administrative duty, teaching loads. All the same time, the journal's demand and expectations are so high, with the consideration of interdepartment and intra-departments. So you are not good at everything, and that's where you must have to tie up with other departments researcher and try to get out the real-time objective, real-time perspective, and based on which you should also provide the real-time solutions to the society. That's where you can create an image in the minds of people, right? So that is where the collaboration is must essential, and we must have to work out on this particular aspect. when we talks about referencing citations and through the bibliography and references, you always need to focus upon the high impact factor journals, because if you are aiming for publications in high impact factor journal, so that is the prerequisites of the editors of that journal, right? That whatsoever referencing in bibliography that you are trying to patch up as a part of the supporting elements of your research work, you should provide those referencing in bibliography from the quality journal itself. And that's where at least you are creating a first image that you have taken up this referencing in bibliography from all the quality sources of referencing in bibliography. That's where we must have to aim for this particular journal. What are the important side for the quality references? So the one side is Scopus, Web of Science, Google Scholar, Trailer, and Francis. It's not ending here. You can go for Sage publication, right? You can go for Routledge publication. You can go for what I can say is InterScience, right? So these are the good publishers where you can always focus upon as far as your research publication is concerned, and at the same time this referencing and citations that we have to taken up as a part of the supporting elements for our research work. Then we need to discuss why we are talking about the importance of referencing in bibliography. So the first importance of referencing in bibliography is to acknowledge the other's work. It's very important that if somebody has done or somebody has helped you out through their extensive research work, and those research has used in your research work extensively, right? So it is your moral and ethical duty that you should acknowledge the works of that particular person through the referencing or bibliography. Usually it is references. It's a ethical consideration of the research. It's okay if you are taking the ideas of someone, but at the same time, as a part of moral duty, you must have to give the credit and citations to that particular person. Second, to allow readers to find out the sources easily, that is the citations that has been provided in the previous researcher paper. That's what we have discussed, like bibliographic couplings, right? From bibliography, we will find out another referencing and bibliography, that is called bibliographic coupling. To get the recognition and authentication of work, that's what I said. Get the recognition means to recognize people for the work that they have done it, to support your research work. At the same time, you are authenticating your work as well for not citing others in the particular area or the domain in which you have already worked. And that's where you can make your work more qualitative, because you have tried to touch upon the ideas of the world's great researcher or the country's great researcher. And that's where you have tried to contribute something new in this era. So obviously, if you are doing genuinely, authentically, your work is always going to be a much informative. And if your work is going to be informative, you will get an identity as a good researcher in the market, and that could be reflected in the citation process that has been done by the Google Scholar or any other indexing platforms where you can check the citations, right? So to trace the intellectual development of your ideas that you present, right, you must have to track the intellectual development that has happened in the area of the work that has been done. Now we'll talk about different types of referencing in bibliography. So the first is annotated bibliography. Annotated bibliography, which provides a summary and evaluation of the each source cited. It provides the summary of this each source, right? Means about the authors and papers, and due to which the parameters of short summary are, the concise description of the source of the content, relevance of the research work, that is societal importance. You need to define the credibility, authority, and usefulness for the stakeholders, right? So if you are providing this much details after the references for the research paper that we have drafted, you usually follows the annotated bibliography, right? So you are trying to annote, societal importance, concise descriptions, and credibility of the research, and usefulness for the society. The second type is selective bibliography. You are not writing a summary for all bibliography, but you are writing for some exhaustive bibliographies for which you are aiming to have all the available sources. Exhaustive means most highly preferred. Let's say you have 50 references, but out of that, the 10 research papers are mostly selected for somehow or others parameters to support your research work. So those kind of bibliography and references would be the part of selected bibliography. Subjective. So there is bibliography which focused on specific subjects. That's where it is called subject bibliography. And the sources for this bibliography could be anything and everything. Wherever you are getting information, it could be books, journals, articles, website, etc. And this kind of bibliography always helps the resources for the particular topic, and it provides curated list of materials for further exploration, right? So after the publication also, if you want to see subject oriented approach as a author or as a reader, right, so that can be possible with this sort of bibliography. Exhaustive. So subjective means only for subject, and exhaustive means it's a broad area of topic sources available. And the basic aim of this bibliography, usually less people are following this because you cannot write for each and everything, right? Otherwise, your paper will go into vain, and it would increase the size of the paper than what the reference in bibliography is. So that's why these bibliographies are often used in comprehensive literature reviews or as reference tools for scholars who are conducting in-depth research or a specific topic, right? So it's said in in-depth, right? It's not for papers. So that's where exhaustive bibliography are least preferred in research paper writing and all this aspect. Chronological means it should be in order. It could be from numerical order. It could be from the alphabetical order, right? So that's where it provides an chronological overview of the literature that we have drafted, which allows you as a researcher to track the development of ideas and the trends over time. And that's why the chronological bibliographies are often used in historical research or studies that examine the evaluation of ideas or theories. Descriptive, again, it's a bibliography which provides detailed information about the characteristics of the book authors and printed material. Under this, the information of this book is it provides the editions, printing history, typography, bindings, and other bibliographic details. These bibliographies are commonly used in book history, bibliography study, and the cataloging of rare or special collections. The elements, if it talks about in research referencing in bibliography, so these are the elements. Author's name, it could be last name, first name, year of publication in which the paper published, title of the research work, name of the journal in which it has published, editions, in which edition it has been published, like volume, issue. Edition means in a year wise, like 2025 edition, and any other series if there is a sub part, special series, sometimes special issues are coming. So this is a series. These are the formats, right, for the bibliography. To name a few, I have given 5 to 6 formats on the slides. MLA style, APA style, Chicago, IEEE, CSC. So if you're noting over here, right, MLA, APA, Chicago, IEEE, CSC. So I'm not saying that you have to follow any of a how, but it is, somehow depends upon the authority to whom you are submitting. But this is a normal nomenclature that if I'm talking about MLA style, so usually it is for the literature and foreign language communications, right? So that is where all the linguistic, arts faculties are using MLA, right? APA for all the management, commerce, the social science, right, and education departments are using APA style. For Chicago, again for arts and history, right, anthropology and philosophy, people usually prefer Chicago. IEEE, IEEE is being followed by all the engineering people that is doing the research on the same. I hope I'm audible to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. And CSE format is for biology, physics, chemistry, and geology. So there is a power cut, so you can't see me. Okay. Yeah. I hope now you can see. Okay. So if you see the MLA style, and this is one of my paper in ABDC journal. So I have taken up this in from Google Scholar. So if you see this, this is a last name and this is first name. Complete last name and for complete first name of the first author. Second author, first name and last name. This is for second author. So both the author's first name and last name has been written. Then there is a article title. This is journal. This is volume. This is issue. This is year of publication and this is page number. यही हमने कुछ देखा था अभी. Journal article title, right? Then journal name, volume, issue, page number, year of publication, author name. Yes or no? Elements. If you see the elements, यही देखा था ना हमने.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So this is how it has been written. Yeah. But if you go for every other styles, so for every other style it is different. Like from MLA to API, if you're shifting, so last name is there, but the first name over here is full, but over here is only first letter of the first name. Same is case of here. You can see this. This is last name and the first name is only first letter. Then year of publication was here in this case. It is here on this case. Then volume and issue, that 10.1 over here is 10 bracket 1, right? So these are the minor differences if you change your format for referencing in bibliography. Right, let's see the details. If you are following this MLA style, I have already explained full name and first name, surname and full name. And year of publication is here. Major changes in name, year of publication, volume and issue number, style. Right, majorly you will find this three things are going to be shuffled. Right, now you shuffle from MLA to API, just see this, how parameters are shifting. See, now for surname and first letter of first name, year of publication from last to first, and volume to issue number, earlier it was 10.1. Over here it is 10 bracket 1. Yeah, so these are the three major changes. Now again from API to Chicago, if you move, again you can see this year of publication came here. And again in API it was first letter of first name, but in MLA it was full name. So over here also it is full name. Year of publication is here, but only difference between MLA and Chicago is between volume and issue number. Why? Because MLA was writing volume number is uh, right 10 10.1. APA was writing 10 bracket 1 and Chicago is writing 10 comma number ko NO लिखा जाता है and then it is written number. Right, this is a Chicago style. NO.1. If it is 2, then it is 2 and so on. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, please
Yes.
repeated this APA format.
Should I go for APA format?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, here it is APA format.
Clear, sir.
Done? Okay. So this is Chicago, right? So now let's try to understand difference between the referencing and bibliography that we have to discuss. So the term referencing and bibliography, which are often used the same somehow, but there is a difference in their meanings. And the difference is references are every resources, every paper, every material that came into your notice from beginning of your research journey to end of your research journey. All the material that is came into your notice, right, that you have read it, and after reading you have referred. That means you have taken some or other parameters of that particular paper as supporting elements to your research paper, that is where it is called the citations, right? That means all the materials that you have read and cited in your research paper are called references. I hope it is clear. Yes or no? And bibliography means you over here references, you have read it and you have cited. But for bibliography, you have read, but you have not read it, not referred, right? That is called bibliography. I hope the difference between these two is clear. But from my point of view, bibliography is very important to mention. Why? Because what you need to refer, you only came to know when you came to know that what not to refer. So this bibliography has made your journey very clear, very concise, very precise, that what to take and what not to take, right? And that's where usually people consider referencing and bibliography to be same, but almost it looks same, formats are same, elements are same, but the purpose of referencing and bibliographies are not same. So only the difference between referencing and bibliography is only have with the purpose only. Rest of all the formats, writing styles, everything is same. Is it clear? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what are the sources for referencing in bibliography? So anything and everything that you are getting from the sources, right? Like books, journals, newspaper magazines, conference paper proceedings, institutional and government publications, electronic sources, website, CD-ROM, database, thesis reports, or even newspaper article or unpublished things could be your either referencing or bibliography. Now the question is, many of person have already gone through it. Now the question should always came out, how to find out the quality references. So obviously, if you are looking for quality references, then you have to refer the quality paper. The simple answer to this question. Now, how to find out the quality papers? How to find out the quality research? So you always need to see the key performance index and H index for everything that we are referring. And out of that, we also must have to work out on university rankings, right? You must have to focus upon the researcher who are working in good quality universities, right? Let's say in India, we can talk about in management, we can say IIMs. For engineering technology, you should focus upon IIT, NIT, triple IT, right? So these are the universities where you must have to follow the researcher, and you must have to get these papers, and you should take the ideas of them. And if they are suitable to you, must have to go for it by taking the ideas, and you should cite them as well. So that's where you can find out the quality paper, and those papers are always available on the quality journals platforms. Because if you are considering that these people are quality and the research is qualitative, so research qualitative can be parked at the qualitative journal platform. So obviously we need to go for it. And why universities are also imposing to the faculties to do the quality research, because it has a matter of concern for the affiliation, university rankings, and many other parameters which are directly or indirectly important for us. So that's where we have to work out on this. And that's where we have to go for quality assurance certificates as well. Reason for citations and references, we have already discussed, so I'll not go into detail again. But yeah, to make your work proper, rigorous, and significant, to make your work to be on funnel process, that is to narrow down your approach from macro level to micro level. Justify your paper on fundamental fronts means what you have taken, what idea you have taken, and based on this idea, what you are going to do. And make sure that this content should be very advanced and updated. You must have to identify the good journals for your research work, and having the ideas about the quality journals, that is in terms of impact factor, immediate index, and many more things. And that is where you can differentiate in terms of from the others, like what is difference between quality research and quantitative research. So that's it from my side. If you have any questions, you can portray the questions on the platform. Yes. Any questions, any solutions, any queries regarding your research, you can ask. Yes. Any questions? Yes, Renu madam, please. Yes, Renu Sangappa Desai madam, you have raised the hand, so you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. There was one question, how to attach bibliography. Can I have that person to unmute? I think HOD of from Kerala, Department of Malayam. Yes, sir. So you can unmute yourself and you can clarify your exact requirement for this particular things. Okay. So I think if there is no query, we can end the session. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you so much again for Research Foundation of India and all the participants for your patient listening. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you, sir.
welcome.
Thank you, sir.
अगर आप लोगों को कुछ भी in case of any doubts, I have shared my details yesterday also, so you can always be in touch in case of any doubts in the future. है ना, सबके पास आप मेरा contact number होगा आपका, तो आप कभी भी पूछ सकते हो, कोई इशू नहीं, ठीक है? If you are not okay on this platform, so you can ask in the later stage also.
Anatomy of flowering.
Yes, over to you, Swarnika madam, and yeah, thanks to you as well.
Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of the Research Foundation of India, a heartfelt thank you to you, sir, for this amazing and interactive session. Also, thanks to all the participants that you stayed patient and curious at the same time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay.